Planet Dolan. From seatbelt conspiracy theories to random condemnations to hell, Planet Dolan Crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the craziest things we've ever heard on public transport. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I'll be on the narrator. Number 10 was submitted by MysticMrsMoonscar. Honeybits was on the subway with her friend and her mum. In their cab was a thin white dude who looked like he was going to lose a fight with a worm. He was on his phone and at first he was just whispering. Honeybits noticed that the people around him were giving him weird looks as he started getting angrier. Eventually he stood up and yelled into the phone, "Put the money in the bag and get out of there." He angrily got off at the next station. Unfortunately, that was Honeybits' stop as well. Honeybits was walking behind him when a homeless looking man walked up to him and asked, "So what happened?" The man said that Tyler didn't get the money to buy the drugs. Honeybits, her mum and her friend all stopped instead until the men turned around and yelled, "What do you want, girls?" After that they ran off. Number 9 was submitted by MaddDog197X. Gergak was playing video games while riding a streetcar, and as he did so, some of the people sitting behind him were starting to get louder in the conversation. Gergak was about to tell him to quiet down, but then he caught a snippet of the conversation. One of the guys was saying how much he wished Pokemon were real. So Gergak thought for a second to, join the conversation rather than shush it. But then the guy just explained exactly how he wanted to have sex with every single member of his Pokemon team. Gergak ended up getting off at the same stop as that person, spent the next few minutes trying very hard to avoid eye contact. Number 8 was submitted by agilasigma. Pandora was once riding a late night bus going home. The bus was pretty empty with only her and a couple a few rows behind her. Pandora got some sleep because it was a long ride. She was woken up by a sound coming from behind her. She discreetly turned around to look, only to see the source of the noise was the girl giving the guy a blowjob. Pandora tried to get back to sleep. It was hard to do given the circumstances. She didn't even know if they were done by the time she got off at her stop. Number 7 was submitted by Magnaillusion. One day, Mimi Up sat in the middle of her bus with a scruffy looking old woman 2 rows in front of her. The woman herself didn't strike Mimi as odd until near the end of the ride, when she suddenly stood up, turned around, pointed her finger directly at Mimi and yelled at the top of her lungs, "You need to go to church or you're bored." Then she just turned and sat back down, as if nothing had happened. Everyone was just sort of shocked, but in the end nobody did anything and the ride ended without any further incidents. Mimi never figured out what prompted the outburst or why she was the target. Number 6 was submitted by MrTalkingMachine. Pringle was at the bus terminal waiting for the driver to start letting people in when he heard 2 girls in their 20s talking about seatbelts. Specifically, they were talking about the government conspiracy of seatbelts being meant to actually kill you rather than saving your life in an accident. They explained it like this: if you don't wear a seatbelt and the vehicle crashes, your body can move around and land slowly and safely somewhere else. A seatbelt, on the other hand, forces a sudden stop to kill you by sudden deceleration. And seatbelts that only go around the waist retain your butt in the seat, while your torso is free to shoot forward, smash your head into the back of the seat in front of you, and snap your neck. Pringle assumed that neither of these girls had ever landed safely and slowly through a windshield. Number 5 was submitted by Gaunch3. James Shark was with his father just ahead of a young couple at the bus stop. The couple were talking about sex toys and how sexy it would be to use a butt plug with a tail. Thing is, James Shark lived in Spain and was the only one who knew both Spanish and English in his family. His father asked what was going on, which made James Shark nervous, but he decided to translate everything he heard. His dad had the same reaction. They didn't talk anymore at all until he got onto the bus away from that couple. Number 4 was submitted by Captain Eeyore124. A few years ago, Hellbent was visiting family in Massachusetts and they decided to take a tour of Boston. It was Hellbent's first time riding in an actual subway train. It was pretty crowded but quiet, so it was easy to hear other people's conversations. Hellbent mostly minded his own business using his phone, but he suddenly overheard a skinny guy who looked like a drug addict say to the person next to him, "Fat ladies' vaginas taste sweeter when they are drunk." He didn't hear much of anything before or after, so it was just overheard completely out of context. Number 3 was submitted by AvianApparition. When Emoji was in college, she would take the city bus to and from work. She was sitting in a seat, forgot her headphones that day, so she couldn't help but overhear their conversation. The guy in the group said something about how he had been molested by his grandfather. The girls didn't take him seriously, saying it couldn't be true because he wouldn't be able to talk about it so easily. That's when he uttered the phrase, "Oh, don't worry, I got over it." Turns out the secret is that you rape other people. Emoji had to spend another 40 minutes on a crowded bus next to that guy after he said that. Number 2 was submitted by Dragon Queen My Love. Melissa was waiting for the bus one morning in early November when it started snowing. Everyone huddled in groups to try and stay warm because it was 14 degrees outside and there was no shelter from the snow. It was dead quiet because it was too cold for anyone to want to speak. Suddenly, someone's phone went off. The ringtone was unusual. It was that moaning sound people used in prank videos, and it went at full volume. The phone's owner, clearly surprised, dropped her phone in the snow, scrambling to answer it. She picked it up and the first words she said were, "God damn it, Dad, stop changing my ringtone." Every single person at the bus stop immediately burst out laughing. Number 1 was submitted by me. It was the weirdest thing I ever heard on public transport. Well, actually, Gooby and I both heard this one. We were just kind of sitting around minding our business on the train, and this guy comes on the train, and he's just repeating the same thing over and over, the one word. He keeps saying 1994, and he laughs every time he says it. He's like, 1994, and he just does this over and over. We were on the train for about half an hour, and not once did he let up. He just kept going. By the end, Gooby and I were actually theorizing about what could possibly have taken place in 1994. That was so funny. I got out my phone, I started looking up the things that happened, I was like, actually, Final Fantasy VI came out, maybe he's laughing about that. And I guess that's the year the Lion King came out, and The Mask. I don't think he's laughing about Pulp Fiction. So Gooby and I were just going back and forth about all the possibilities. What could it possibly be? That was so funny. We never did figure it out. Guys, comment below if there's something that happened in 1994 I'm not thinking about. That would be so funny. We'd want to repeat the year over and over on a train while laughing crazily. Maybe I'm just missing something really obvious. Anyway, huge thanks to the folks over at Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the weirdest thing you do when you're nervous? Do you say the same word over and over? Let us know on the Reddit page link below and you might be featured in a feature countdown. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys. That's it for this video, and have a good one!